Sheriff, please?
Well, not exactly. I'm kind of a first-class assistant, you might say.
Can you stop a robbery from happening?
Robbery?
Yes, sir. It's gotta be stopped before somebody gets killed or something.
Sure it does. Now, where's this robbery going to take place?
I don't know.
Well, would you know when it's going to happen?
No, only it's probably real soon.
Well, that don't give us much to go on. You wouldn't happen to know who's going to pull this holdup, would you?
His name is Bart McCallin. He's my father.
Trackdown. Starring Robert Culp.
Porter, Texas, August 19th. It looked quiet and peaceful that hot, dusty afternoon. But inside the offices of the Porter Enterprise, a young, frightened girl was telling a story that would soon turn that peace and quiet into a storm of violence.
That's why you have to stop it, Mr. Gilman, before my father does something awful.
Well, now, Debbie, you don't look like the kind of little girl his father's going to do anything awful.
He wouldn't. He's wonderful.
Well, but you just told me
It
that...
must be those two men, Mr. Gilman. They must be making him do it.
Those two men, Debbie, you never saw them before they rode up to the ranch house.
No.
You don't know who they are or what their names might be?
No, Miss Porter. They just rode up last night and busted in on us.
Well, how do you mean, busted in?
Well, the one, he acted like he owned our ranch, made himself right at home. And the other one, he reminded me of a snake.
How did your folks take to all this, Debbie?
Mom was real scared.
And your father?
I don't know, Miss Porter. He's always so calm and all. He just kind of looked at them and shooed me out of the room.
But you listened at the door, huh?
I couldn't hear everything, but I know they were planning on robbing somebody. My father wouldn't do anything bad if he could help it, Mr. Gilman. That's why I came to see you. I've got to stop it before it's too late.
Well, I'll tell you, you go with Ralph here. Go down to the cafe. They've got some flavored ice down there. And you have some of that, and I'll see what I can do about your father.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman.
Well, it's my pleasure.
My pleasure.
My husband isn't home, Mr. Gilman. I can't think of anything a sheriff might want to say to me.
I'm a Texas Ranger, Ms. McCallin. I'm not a sheriff. I'm just acting in a sheriff's capacity. And it's what you might have to say that's important.
What could I tell you about it?
Well, maybe about your husband. Or, about a couple of strange men that rode up here yesterday.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Gilman. Snooping around, asking questions. We're honest, God-fearing folk, and you've no call to bully us this way.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to help.
Thank you, but we don't need any.
That's not what Debbie told me.
What about Debbie? What's happened to her? What have they done to her? Where is she?
She's in Porter. She's safe.
She told me she was just going for a little ride. What was she doing in Porter, Mr. Gilman? What did she tell you?
A whole lot more than you have, Miss McCallin. About her father. And these two strange men. And the possibility of a holdup.
only tell you one thing, Mr. Gilman. When my husband got out of the Confederate Army, he swore on the Bible that he'd never again bear arms against anyone. He's never worn a gun since. Bart McCallin's a good man, and you've no cause to fear him doing anything wrong. And I'm swearing to that on the same Bible, where it says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness."
Well, I never saw you move so fast.
You better start doing some fast moving yourself, Mr. Gilman.
All right, what is it?
Sam Travers just drove his buckboard into Porter. He's all shot up. The doc doesn't know whether he'll live or not. You know what we heard, what we was talking about earlier?
Yeah?
Well, $5,000 of cattle money Travers had on him is missing.
All right, Ralph, I'll see you in a minute. Now, how about it? You want to tell me now?
Word of Sam Travers' shooting spread swiftly throughout Porter. Anger, resentment, and fear came with it, directed toward the man whose daughter had ridden into town, whose story about her father and two strangers planning a robbery had already become common knowledge.
Mr. Gilman, he didn't do it. They're all saying my father shot Mr. Travers, but he didn't.
Well, Debbie, you told me your dad is going to get mixed up in something like this.
But he wouldn't shoot anybody. I know that.
Well, I hope you're right. Doc, be right with you.
Should have known it wouldn't be another patient.
Well, you've got your hands full as it is, I understand.
Plenty full. Sam's in no condition to talk now, Hobie. He may never be.
Did you get anything out of it?
And he was bushwhacked some 10 miles this side of his ranch. They got one double eagle for their trouble.
I thought he was supposed to be carrying $5,000 cattle money.
The killers must have thought that, too. But Jeb Stevens over at the bank tells me Travers' foreman deposited that money this morning.
$20. Seemed like a man's life is worth very much.
Plenty been killed for less.
Yeah. Did Travers see who did it?
Nope. But he figures he knows.
How?
He regained consciousness once when someone was going through his pockets. Managed to see the man was wearing Confederate cavalry boots.
Well, that's not very much to make an identification from.
And Travers won't agree with you. Says there's only one man around here that he knows of who wears them. Works on his ranch, too. Name's Bart McCallin.
Those people outside know that?
Worried about a lynching party?
No. No, his daughter's standing out there, that's all.
You mean Mr. Travers is dead?
Oh, not yet, Debbie, but he's very badly hurt.
Poor Mr. Travers. What about my father, Mr. Gilman?
Well, I'm going to have to find him and talk to him.
But I told you he didn't have anything to do with it. He doesn't even wear a gun.
I'm still going to have to find him.
You won't have to wait long, Hobie.
Daddy!
All right, Don. Up you go.
Please tell him you didn't do it, Daddy.
Well, you better calm down and tell me what this is all about.
Your name is Bart McCallin?
That's right.
Mine's Hobie Gilman. I'd like to talk to you.
But what about?
Sam Travers just been held up and shot.
Daddy, tell him you didn't do it. Please, please.
That can have nothing to do with me, Mr. Gilman.
Well, we're looking for a man that wears Confederate cavalry boots. I think we better talk now.
Porter, Texas, August 20th. No longer sleepy. Now rudely awakened by the shooting of Sam Travers. Its fears and alarms centered in angry hatred against the man it believed responsible. And Hobie Gilman was questioning that man.
You can do whatever you want to about me, Mr. Gilman. I've told you everything I can.
Well, that's not very much, McCallan.
I didn't rob or shoot Sam Travers.
But you won't tell me where you were at the time of the holdup.
No.
Or who those two men were that Debbie said showed up at your place.
No. I'm sorry, Mr. Gilman, I can't.
Daddy, you know they were there. I heard you talking. Why don't you tell Mr. Gilman?
I'm afraid you'll have to leave this up to me, Deborah.
But if you didn't do it, why can't you tell him? Why?
I said I didn't do it. Have I ever lied to you before?
Not before. But if there's nothing to hide, why don't you...
That's enough, Deborah. This is my business, not yours. I guess you don't believe me either.
Well, I'd like to have one good reason why you shouldn't answer my questions.
A man has to live by his conscience, Mr. Gilman. I've nothing more to say.
All right, I guess we got nothing more to talk about.
You going to jail me?
I haven't got enough proof to do that now. If Travers dies, I'll come looking for you.
The news that Hobie had refused to press charges against McCullen spread through town quickly, and several of the more influential citizens objected loudly. One of these, banker Jeb Stevens, called Ranger Hobie Gilman to defend his position.
And I tell you, Gilman, there's a band of thieves and killers on the loose around Porter. This town is bulging with money, and what do? Let the ringleader walk out of here free as air. That's what you do, free as air.
You got any proof?
All the proof anybody needs. Travers' identification of McCallin's boots. McCallin's refusal to tell where he was at the time, to identify those riders who came up the ranch house. Everybody knows about all those things.
Well, that's quite a list, but it doesn't prove anything.
Doesn't it? Well, if that isn't enough, take a look at this telegraph message I received from Austin.
You wired Ranger headquarters to check about McCallin.
I did.
And they told you served 3.5 years for attempted bank robbery before the war.
That's right, and they told me they... You knew about this?
Mm-hmm. I tried to do my job.
And you still let McCallin go?
Most men make a few mistakes. He's paid for his.
I don't believe it. How can you have the nerve to call yourself Sheriff of Porter?
I don't. I'm a ranger. I'm just acting sheriff. You know that.
For my money or not. I'm forming the Citizens Committee to take care of McCallin. Porter needs protection. And it certainly isn't getting it from Hobie Gilman.
Well, he's certainly got his backup, hasn't he?
Well, he has a right to, Hobie. Money's pouring into Porter from those cattle drives, and whoever shot Sam Travers is after some $5,000.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, well, doesn't it stand to reason he'll try again? And if McCullen is guilty, well, you're just the same as giving him the key to Jeb Stevens' bank vault.
Yeah, it's possible, yes.
But you don't think so, hmm?
No, I just don't know.
Henrietta? Hobie, you know Jeb Stevens is running off about a Citizens Committee?
Yeah, I'm not too much worried about it.
Maybe you ought to be.
Sam Travers just died.
again. You swore to it on the Bible.
A man has to do what he feels must be done.
But there's no need. If you forget this, tell Mr. Gilman all about it. We can start over again.
It's too late, Janet.
Oh, please, Bart, don't go, please. Oh, Bart.
Don't hold back information now, Ms. McCallum, not with the town stirred up like it is.
I'm not holding anything back.
Look, when they find out that Sam Travers is dead, they're going to go looking for your husband. Sooner or later, they're going to find him. Now, don't you think he'd be better off if I find him first? Here, sit down here. All right, now, who are these two men that came riding up here that Debbie was telling me about? Who are they?
One was Bart's brother, Rafe McCallum. He's the one who got Bart into trouble years ago. Bart hasn't seen him since.
What did he come back for now?
He and that killer who's with him, Prager. They were running from the law. They needed food, supplies, money.
And Bart's been helping them.
He gave them food and a place in the hills to hide out.
And he tried to get him money.
We didn't have any to give.
But he thought Sam Travers did.
No.
And he wouldn't be the first man to use a gun for that.
I tell you, no.
Debbie heard him plan it.
The others, yes, but not Bart. He had nothing to do with it.
Well, why wouldn't he tell me anything about his brother or any of this?
Because he lives by this book.
Well, I'd like to believe you, Ms. McCallum, but,
McCallin's in town wearing a gun. Ralph here was on the job, as usual, getting us all together. But where's the man who's supposed to be protecting us? Where's Gilman?
Oh, you know as well as we do, Jeb. He's out of town somewhere.
Sure. He's out of town and McCallin is in. But he's not getting away with anything this time, even if I have to go out and shoot him down myself.
If your gun was as big as your mouth, Jeb, you could shoot up the whole town of Porter.
I only say the truth, Doc Hosper. Or are you forgetting Sam Travers so soon?
Oh, keep your britches on, Jeb. Any action we take is going to be legal and proper as long as I have anything to do with it.
Mr. Gilman, where is he, Miss Porter? Where's Mr. Gilman?
Well, he's not here right now, Debbie.
Please, it's gotta be.
Oh, now, what's the matter, child?
My father and those two men, I heard them up in the hills. They're going to rob the bank here.
Nice job. Must have had lots of experience. You wanted your vault broken into.
The vault?
It's all right, Florida.
This man, he isn't Bart McCallin.
No, he called himself Prager.
It's not my father?
No, it's not your father, Jelly. He had nothing to do with Sam Travers' killing, and he had nothing to do with this. It's just like he told you. He's never lied to you.
Is everything all right, Mr. Gilman? I heard the gunshots.
Yeah, fine. I'll take the gun now.
It's all right, Debbie. Everything's all right.
Well, Hobie, do we get an explanation?
Oh, holy sweet. Well, you know your Bible pretty well, don't you, Henrietta?
Yes. Well, what does the Bible have to do with it?
Well, I spotted McCallin on the road, and I persuaded him to help me trap these two by pretending to go along with him. That's all.
You were talking about the Bible.
Huh? Oh, well,
It's simple, Mrs. Porter. I didn't want to play Cain to my brother's Abel. Then I thought I had to. Only Mr. Gilman here convinced me there was another way out. I had to become my brother's keeper.
Thank you, Mr. Gilman.
my pleasure.